to be honest with you, because it's no longer serving us any purpose. And we need to relearn some new things before we can take our lives to the next level, right? So we're going to jump right into it. I learned something in 2005, right? I'm gonna be very transparent with you guys if I can. Is it okay if I be myself?
Yes.
All right, because to be honest with you, I don't know how to be anything else. When I first got into the industry, came from some real humble beginnings. I didn't have a story like a lot of successful people that you read in magazines. I came straight from the streets into the industry. All I knew was, you know, at the age of 11 years old, I already joined again. Very sexually promiscuous at a very young age, made a mess out of my life. I got kicked out of 3 middle schools, I got kicked out of 5 high schools, and I graduated in jail. Now, I don't say any of that to impress you or break, because I don't care about it like that. But you know what? It's my story. It is what it is. That's just part of my story. Now, maybe you have someone in your life or someone that you know that kind of bumped their head and made some of those same mistakes, or maybe that was you for a season in your life, you know, kind of like just rebellious, wilding out, but that's just where I was at that point in my life. Now, I come from a big family. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers, and we roll pretty deep. They have a lot of kids. I don't. Yeah, soccer team. They breed. But our family is big, and I love that. You know, I love the culture. You know, our family. We have get-togethers at my mom's house on Sundays all the time. You know, she hooks up homemade meals, and you know, I'm thankful for that family time. But you know, in all my brothers and sisters, everybody was in the streets. Everyone. Either sold drugs, either was in a gang, or either a kid's father was, or their boyfriends were. It was just all I've ever known. And I remember I never moved out my neighborhood until the age of 17. If we moved, we just moved from one house in the hood to the next. But it was all still in the same hood. Right? Yeah, we just moved 2 blocks down. Got excited to move over. We just moved next door. But I mean, that was my story, you know. And the thing about it, what I realized was a lot of what I thought was normal, well, it wasn't really normal, but it was all I've ever known. And you know that, you know, the environment that we were in and what we constantly were exposed to and what we saw every day and what we heard every day, it wasn't normal. But what I didn't realize was 15 minutes away, 15 miles away, it was a whole different reality, a whole different world. People 15 minutes away from us weren't seeing that, weren't struggling with those same struggles. See what I'm talking about? Yeah. So what I want to expose you to was, when I first got out, all I knew was I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. All my friends were getting killed, they were going to prison, and I was just like, man, everybody around me, just stuff was just happening. And I was just at a point in my life, I'm not sure if you've ever been at a point in your life where you were like just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah. That's kind of where I found myself in 2005, but I just didn't know where to start. So one of my business mentors that I had a chance to get exposed to, he said, Jesse, if you ever want to change your life, you got to do 3 things. All right, so write this out for your notes. First one is you got to start to change your thinking. All right? He says, because you made an appointment 5 years ago to be at wherever you're at today by the choices you made 5 years ago. Good or bad. Maybe you're not at a place you want to be at financially. Well, guess what? 5 years ago, you weren't really doing much. See what I'm talking about? So if we need to start a new process, we got to start making some better choices today so that the next 5 years we can be in a place where we really want to be. Right? So all I knew was all the stuff that we did day in, day out, it just kind of snowballed and it just built and built and built. And that's why my life was just falling apart. That's why all the bad things were happening to us. And that's why people were getting killed. Guess what? Everything you do out there comes with a price, good or bad. Right? I just didn't see it at the time. So the first thing we're going to hit on is your thinking. So let's start to identify some of the problems. I want to ask you guys some questions so we can make this interactive, if it's okay. I don't want this to be a boring training or anything like that. We want to make this interactive. I want to ask you some questions. What are, you know, and I want you to just, I'm going to ask you these questions, and I want you to write down your answer on your paper if you can. So what are some of your beliefs about money that you were taught since kids? Were you raised with a lot of money? Did your family not talk about money? Did they view money like it is evil? It is bad? It's wrong to have money? All rich people are greedy? Were these some of the things you've heard?
Yes.
Has everyone ever heard like things like money's evil, money's bad?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, in my neighborhood, in my house, those were kind of our views on money. Right? So let's talk about this a little bit. What I didn't realize was, I learned something in 2005 and it just changed my whole perspective. Was all money is a mirror to wherever your heart is. Money is not bad. Money is just a tool. You put a lot of money in a bad man's hands, they'll just have more money to live more selfishly, and they're going to hurt a lot of people in the process. And all it really is, it's like a magnifying glass to their lifestyle. You just, you just see it more, right? Like say for example, you got these celebrities like Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan, and the only reason why we hear about them is because of the money. Otherwise, there's people making those same mistakes that they're making every single day, but you don't hear about them. See what I'm talking about? It's just a magnifying glass. It just puts you on stage in front of bright lights. But if you put a lot of money in a good man's hands, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to do what they know how to do, and that's just to give, to help people, to create opportunities. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
So we got to come and get some of the conditioning and thinking that we've been taught, because it's not bad. Because if you continue to live your life and go through life thinking it's bad, like money's equal, maybe my family, we just don't do things like that, or we don't have things like that. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to keep on pushing it away from you. I remember reading something years ago, and I never used to do it because it's like, man, it's not worth nothing. But I would see a penny, and I wouldn't pick it up. And then I remember reading something in a book. It says every time you're asking for money, but by you not picking it up, you're pushing it away from you. So pick it up. You might not think it's worth anything. It's just the principle of it. You're asking for it, and you're attracting it. And you're not even seeing it.
Yeah.
That was a free one. I promise I won't charge you for that. All right, so I want to just, I want you to start to really question your conditioning. What were some of the things you were taught? All right, so some of the things that we were taught, guess what, guys? Not true. Says who? A lot of this stuff was passed down by broke people to keep other people broke right with them. Wow. And nobody questioned it. I remember Tim Hart was just in our market last week Saturday.
Yes.
And I heard, he said something, it was incredible. He said something last week Saturday that I heard years ago, but it was good to hear it again. He talked about a story that his wife made a ham, and he asked her, why do you cut off the ends of the ham? She was like, well, my mom did it that way. That's how she's always prepared her ham, right? So he asked her, his wife's mom, like, why do you always cut the ends of your ham off? Isn't that like wasting meat or whatever? And she was like, well, my mom has always, done it like that. So then he goes around and he asks her grandma. He gets around like, oh, what's name cuts their ham this way? What's name cuts their ham this way? Why do you cut your ham this way? She was like, well, my pan only fit that size, so I have to. Do you see? Nobody questioned it. Why were people doing this for so long? This is like some of the stuff that has been taught to you. Misery loves company. I'm going to be honest with you. And I got to teach you something, because if you're going to pursue a business like this, not everybody's going to be happy for you. So let me just tell you up front. All right? But that's just not secret. That's just not this business. It's anything you do. Do you know other people don't like to see other people doing good?
Yeah.
These guys got haters out here in Chicago?
Yes.
Listen, guys, and the sad thing about it is you would think that the ones that love you the most would be the ones that support you the most.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case.
Yes.
And I just want to kind of prepare you. You would think it would be the opposite. But it's just not the case. So one thing that I want to kind of leave you with is this. Nobody's going to take care of your kids. Nobody's going to make sure your dreams come true. Nobody's going to make sure you're living in your dream home, you're driving your dream car, and that you're taken care of, but you. So you got to stop listening to all these opinions that at the end of the day, they don't even matter. They don't even count, because they're not even going to take care of you at the end of the day. All right? Because sometimes if you buy somebody's opinion, you buy their lifestyle. All right? So, I kind of wanted to share that because it's just a lot of stuff that we've been taught for so long, and we've just never questioned it. Says who? Who says money is evil? Well, maybe the love of money, if that's all it is you are, but there's more to me, there's more to you. All right? It's kind of hard does it take money to raise your kids in the nice neighborhoods where they're not being exposed to violence every day?
Yes.
Does it take money so you're eating healthy? Is it expensive to live a healthy lifestyle these days?
Yes.
There's a difference between Aldi's and Pick and Save and freaking Whole Foods, I promise you. Right? Does it take money to drive a car that's reliable, or a car that you kind of got to call a name to start? Like, come on, baby. It takes money, you know? Who do you think is driving the dream cars? You know, like, I mean, obviously people that got money. All right, so I'm not saying it should be the most important thing, but it does rank up there with oxygen. It does determine the quality of your lifestyle. All right, and I'm not sure about you, but I want to be able to leave my daughter something. You know, I'm willing to pay in my generation. I'm willing to sacrifice in my day, so she don't have to make the same sacrifices in her day, if that's okay. All right. Now we're gonna keep moving forward. There's also some things that we've been programmed to believe about schools, right? For a long time, we were programmed to think you have to go to school to be successful. Yeah. Now, to be honest with you, at one point in time, that was the case here in America, but it's just not the case anymore. How many people know somebody that has a degree and they can't get a job in the field that they went to school for?
Too many people.
Now, don't get me wrong. I believe in education. I just don't think it's equivalent to success anymore. Because it's just not the case. Now, I believe you don't need a formal education to be educated, because any subject that you really dived into and really took the time to learn, you can learn, right? Now, I still send my daughter to school, but I send her to school with different expectations now. This is how I raised my daughter. She's 10 years old, and she's going to be a beast. She's going to be an entrepreneur, watch. Right? She's already working on some business ideas right now. So she might be selling something to you real soon, right? So I tell her, like, listen, baby, I want you to go to school for something you can get excited about or passionate about, or I want you to own your own business. One of the two. Those are your two options in life. Pick one. All right? So if you're going to go to school, that's what I would really recommend for you. Don't set your mind like, I have to go to school in order to be successful, because that's not the case. Go to school for something that you can either get excited or get passionate about, or else own your own business. I mean, we're young. We're going to have to work 20, 30 years somewhere. Why not work for yourself in the process? It just makes sense, all right? So those are some of the things that I want to kind of come against, trying to expose you to some new ideas. So if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. All right? So let's keep expanding. We're still on your thinking. What words have been spoken over your life? Now, I'm not sure about you, but I know with me, I've heard a lot of words. Words are very, very powerful, and they're more powerful than what most people imagine. They can take root in your life, and you can internalize them, and they can kind of put a lid over your life and how high you grow, if you believe those words. Maybe you were told that you're ugly. Maybe you were told that you're fat, that you're a loser. Maybe you were told that you'll always be this, or that you'll never be that. And that was their opinion for a long time. But guess what? I bought it for a long time too, and I acted accordingly. Has anyone ever done that?
Yes.
What do you think their motives were when saying that? Do you know that there's two ways you can build the tallest building? One of them is to build the tallest building. The other one is to tear everybody else's down. All right. So guess what? I'm here to tell you a different set of ideas. And I was with Nacho today. You know, we were driving up here. Nacho helped me prepare this training last night. Nacho's one of our leaders in the Milwaukee market that's just tearing it up right now. One of my best friends. Woo! I want to give him a round of applause. You know I want to do this, but I kind of want him to share with you a conversation that we're having with Zach Cheney. Come on up here, Notch. And I kind of want you to, go into the training. He's going to kind of tell a story, and it kind of ties into the point that I'm trying to make.
Well, first off,
He doesn't know I was going to do this, by the way.
so
This is part of me growing my leaders. I'm stretching.
so it's a good thing. I get excited when I'm able to inject confidence in people or share my story. And what I was hearing was that I was looking at it this way when I heard this. And you might think of it the same way. Like, we got dreams. Does everybody have dreams?
Yes.
Have dreams since you were younger? And at a point in time, you just somehow, some way, somewhere, just gave up on those dreams. Like, I always had a dream of playing for the Dallas Cowboys. At that time, they had the dream team. I don't know if you got Packer fans, Chicago fans. When you say Dallas Cowboys, you're just like, you gotta go back soon. But I always wanted to be a football player. So what I see myself doing, I went to school. I got the good grades. You know, I partied hard. I played football. I trained. I was consistent. I was the first one in the gym. I was the last one to leave. You know, I had scholarships. To play for Iowa. You know what I mean? For D1 schools, full rides and everything. But I just decided to just not take it. I procrastinated. I was like, you know what? I always have a chance. You know, that's how I thought, because I was kind of like fooling myself. You know what I mean? I was just that confident. So I didn't take the chance to really pursue my dreams. But I knew I was consistent at what I did. So when I did it every day, and then I just went a different direction in my life. And I started thinking, you know, where did I stop dreaming? You know what I mean? Where did it just stop? I just gave up. I was like, you know, I found myself at a job, and I was just like, this ain't what I want to be. I felt myself just doing the same thing. I felt like a robot, you know, just waking up, going, clocking in, clocking out, taking orders. I was like, where did I stop dreaming? And then I asked somebody the same thing that Julian Doan asked Tim Hurt. He was like, what do I gotta do to be like you? What do I gotta do? He was like, what do I gotta do to have that dream car that I want to drive? That dream house that I want to have? That dream wife that I want to be married to? What do I gotta do to have the money in the bank account that you have? He was like, to tell you the truth, you can't have it. You can't have it. So somebody you look up to and you admire, that you want to be like, and you want to have the same thing that they have, and they tell you you can't have it, how would you feel? How would you feel?
We're gonna take the word out of you?
He said, you can't have what I have. You can't live the lifestyle that I live. You can't drive the car that I drive. You can't have the money that I have. You won't be able to take the vacations that me and my family take. You can't have nothing that I have. The way you are. Wow.
Yeah.
The way you are. And he said, through constant personal development, the person that you become, that's the person that can get those things that you want.
Woo!
You may sit down and take notes. No, you know, he told me that story, and I heard it on the conference call too, but we were having a conversation on Webster. I'm like, he didn't know I was going to put him on the spot to do it, but he's so right. I mean, a lot of this stuff that was spoke over our lives, like you'll never be anything, guess what? These people were speaking it because that's all they ever saw us as. They didn't see the greatness that was in us. They didn't see the potential that was in us. They just spoke the things that they saw. So I'm here to tell you that all these things, Nacho, that it is that you want, that it is that you desire, you can have them, but you just won't be able to get them at the person that you are right now. If you focus on building yourself, growing yourself, you attract all that stuff right into your life. You'll become a person worthy of having all that stuff in your life. Because too much success at the wrong time in your life can be bad for you. And it might not even be the smartest thing or the best thing for you if you're not prepared for it. We see a lot of people that become successful, and what are they doing? They're just walling out. They're hurting themselves, hurting a whole lot of people. Why? Because their money grew, but they never grew with their money. So we're gonna keep moving forward. All right. So this is what we need to do. It's time to move on, though. It's time to realize that those ideas that we thought were the truth are no longer the truth. It's time to realize that times have changed. What was the case at one point in time is just not the case anymore. It's time to realize that what other people said about us isn't true anymore. Maybe they were right to some aspect at that point in our life, but that's not who we are anymore. Maybe you were right when that's all you said was, all I was going to do was just sell drugs my whole life and just gangbang. Well, you know what? At that point in my life, yeah, you were right. But that's not who I am anymore. So I'm here to tell you that your past does not have to lead with your future. All it really comes down to is you making a decision today. And I know that there's different people at different levels in their life. Maybe you can't relate to my story, but one thing I can tell you is that this business is like a lock. and you might have a combination unlocked for you today. And all I know is every message is not for every person. But maybe if you walk away from one thing through this training, maybe it would be worth your time today. I don't know. That's a decision that you got to make. So let's identify what is real, what is fake, and what no longer holds true and serves purpose anymore in our lives. All right? So you got to start to ask yourself these questions. All right, so you're thinking, I'm here to tell you that you are worthy of it. I'm here to tell you that you are capable. I'm here to tell you that you do deserve it. If no one's ever told you that in your life, I'm here to tell you that you do. Sometimes all you have to do is forget what you feel and remember what you deserve. Let's start, all right, so we've identified some problems. Let's start to identify some solutions, all right? Today, let's make a decision and start changing your thinking. If you change your thinking, everything else will just start to line up. I can't explain how it works, it just works. So these are the action steps that I would personally recommend for you. One of them is to commit to a journey of personal and professional development. It's work on you. It's time for you to go under construction. And I'll expand on this a little bit later on. The second, this is like a discipline that I learned in 2005, and these are the type of things that help me change my life. All right? Start reading 15 pages of a good book every single day. Make it a habit. Really, 15 pages is not really a lot. Maybe you don't like to read. Well, get an audio of it. But get a book of something that would challenge you, not like no comic book. Right? Find people who have what you want. Study them. I'll toss out a couple books just off the top of my head. Think and Grow Rich by Robert Kiyosaki. Love that book. Cash Flow Quadrant. Rich Dad Poor Dad. How to Win Friends and Influence People. The Dream Giver. Man, there's so many of them. The Slight Edge. I mean, these are some books. All you got to do is just start a journey. Start reading. You'll be surprised. What happened was I started doing this simple discipline in 2005. And when I first joined the business, I was all tattooed up. I had long braids all coming down my hair. I was rough. Pants hanging off my ass. And I came in and everyone was just scared of me. Like in the meeting, like, no wonder why they didn't want to circle up with me. You know? And they just didn't, because that's just who I was. I was like transitioning out of that lifestyle. All I knew was I just wanted a better life. So I started to do this simple stuff, and then check this out. If you read 15 pages of a good book a day, in 1 year's time, that discipline, you will have knocked out 15 to 20 books in 1 year. Imagine the level you would be on 1 year from now. Your conversation won't even be the same. You'll start to separate yourself from all your friends real quick. Imagine 2 years into that. So your first year, you just start to expand your mind and start learning about being an entrepreneur, finances. Maybe the second year, you start learning on how to lead people, leadership. Maybe the third year, you start studying every successful Fortune 500 CEO and their books and their stories. And the mistakes that they made, so you don't have to make those same mistakes because they're already in the book. All right? You see 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, how that can make a difference and start to separate you from everyone else? Listen, young people, if you have the ability to, I promise you, man, I wish I was on this stuff at your age. It would just change things dramatically. So if you don't like to read, that's okay. Guess what? They got everything on audio now. Yes. Get an ebook. Throw it in your iPad or iPod. Listen to some productive audio. They got Jim Rohn out there. Anything you can get your hands on by Jim Rohn. I would not sign up for that class if I were you. Right? Yeah. Les Brown. Man, there's so many great leaders. Brian Tracy, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins. I mean, you can YouTube all these guys. Tim Hur has some incredible trainings on secret leadership. YouTube channel. If you're not following him, listen. He's one of the top income earners in all of Seacret. One of the best leaders that I've ever had a chance to take notes from. Study him. He can help you grow your business. All right. So keep going on. So now we're gonna move on to a little bit of money training. And you're probably like, how come he's not training on Seacret? Listen, how you do anything is how you do everything. Yes. You don't even realize that this is about Seacret. Because if you master this stuff, it all ties together. All right? Like I told you, there's some leaders that will come into the market, train on products, train on leadership. Tim Hur's really good at training on building leaders. This is what I'm good at. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm going to give you today. So we're going to train on money, all right? If you ever want to learn how to make more money in anything, Seacret, outside of Seacret, you got to just do a few things. Let me show you. One of them is you just got to become more valuable. I remember reading something years ago, and it was talking about, well, actually, one of my mentors, John Mott, shared this with me years ago in 2005. He suggested if you ever want to make more money, it's very simple. You just have to become more valuable. Because you will always be paid according to the value that you bring to the market.
Yep.
But how can some people charge $1,000 an hour? Consultants. Well, it's because of the value that they can bring to a company, an organization, or a business. They demand more because they're more valuable. What if they could turn a company around? As finances are in a mess. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
What if employees are having fighting with each other and they can't get the leadership right? Or what if some outside eyes come in and be like, look, you got to do this, this, and this, and then bam, change the whole direction of the company or the organization? They're able to demand more. So as you're working your job, you can go out making good money. Or work yourself out of a job making good money just by becoming more valuable, because no one else on your job is thinking that. They're just thinking about clocking in, getting paid, and leaving. And the company, they don't even care what type of person they are. They just want the job done. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yes.
Second thing is grow your leadership. He said, Jesse, if you ever want to make a lot of money in life, you just got to learn how to grow your leadership. I'm like, man, I never wanted to be a leader before. I never saw myself as a leader before. And I'll tell you a story when I finished up this training, but I'm like, I just never cared for it, you know? And then he was like, well, if you ever really want to make a lot of money, one thing you got to realize is all the money always flows to the top. It always flows to leadership. In anything. Think about our United States government. People in office. Who makes the most money? Government officials? President. You got a vice president. You got his cabinet. You got federal employees. You got state employees. You got local. See what I'm talking about? Money always flows to the top. Same thing in the military. You got your generals, your admiral. See what I'm talking about? It's in anything. Money's always going to find itself at the top. So you know what you can do? You can get good at on becoming a leader. The best thing you can do is just start to learn how to lead yourself first. And then you'll be in a position to lead other people. But if you grow your leadership, you indirectly grow your paycheck. Well, who's thinking about that? I mean, nobody at your job, is any of your coworkers like, man, I want to be a better leader? Is anyone talking like that at your job? At work?
No.
Nobody is. So imagine if you started to, you would start to separate yourself. And then companies will start, because I'll tell you a story. All right, so remember I mentioned to you that I worked in high school? Now, the same high school that I went to, this was my first high school I went to. I was there 1 month and I got kicked out of there. And, for gangbanging, fighting, all this stuff. Years later, I come back to work in that same high school. And they remember me. It was the same principal, same security guards chasing me around the whole building and everything. I was just bad there. And it's so crazy how things come full circle. But the only way I was able to come back and work there, though, was because I grew my value. I just wasn't the same person that was running around the school anymore. And it was evident. Right? And so check this out. I started working there at the job as like a youth advisor, working with the youth. I ended up running the program. I got promoted to the supervisor of the program. I couldn't grow any higher in that program that I was in. It was just me and then the executive director. Within 2 years, and I was leading people that were twice my age. Why? I grew my leadership. You could demand more. So I went out working my way out of a job, making good money. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Folks just are not on that. All right, I'm going to touch on this lottery mentality. All right. So 70% of lottery winners squander their winnings and end up in a worse shape than they were in before they won the lottery. All right. So I'm going to show you something. If you want to learn about money, this is what you got to do. You got to stay in front of your money. You're probably like, what do you mean by that? This is the rubber band effect. Your money is like a rubber band. It will always grow to whatever level that you're operating on. So remember when I kind of shared with you a little while ago? If success comes at you in the wrong time of your life, it will snap back. That's why you see celebrities, you see athletes, they blow all their millions and then they're bankrupt and they're broke and they're, just gone. Why? Because their money grew faster than they did. That's why you got to stay in front of your money. You got to constantly outgrow your money so your money has no choice but to catch up to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is this helping?
Yes.
All right, check this out. The universe, God, or whatever you believe in, I respect everybody, all right, will always bless you, but will always bring you back to what you can handle. So a lot of you seem like some of the levels in the compensation plan. I want to be a silver, I want to be a gold, I want to be a ruby, I want to be a diamond, I want to be a crown. But let's take an example. Diamond is 1,000 people on your left team, 1,000 people on your right team. All right, so you're talking about 2,000 people. All right. You didn't obviously recruit everybody. You got team building and stuff like that. If that's what you want, imagine 2,000 people in your organization right now. Everyone close your eyes. Everyone in the room is a diamond. How would you communicate with that team? Right now. Would you know how to communicate with 1,000 people?
Yes.
Yeah?
No, never.
Think about it. Would you know how to communicate with 1,000 people on your left team, 1,000 people on your right team?
No.
All right. Would you know how to stay in touch with them daily? Would you know how to lead a team like that? Would you know how to be building leaders? You see, we want this, but we're not even preparing for what it is that we want. We're not even ready right now. Maybe that's why we don't have it right now. The universe will always bless you, will always bring you back to what you can handle. So if that is what you want, maybe you got to start thinking like a diamond. I won't charge you for that. You see what I'm talking about? It's time for everybody to raise their lid. Everybody to Solomon, I'm gonna put you out there. This is one of our leaders, one of the bronze directors in the Milwaukee market, right? He was sharing something with me, and I'm gonna do this on purpose, by design, because everything I do is intentional. Because I want to stretch him. So Solomon is like my little brother, right? And he's like, Jesse, what was he asking me for at the ERC? He was like, ask me for he asked me for like the address for the Chicago thing. And I sent it to him a couple times. I said, Solomon, you got to stop acting like a bronze and start acting like a silver. That's how bold I came at him. Now, I love him enough to tell him the truth. Because who else is? And that's my responsibility. This is one of my leaders. I have a responsibility to him. So I got to help mold him into the leader that I know he is and I know he needs to be. So I can't co-sign with his weaknesses and like, oh, no, no, it's not about me. You need to know how to get this information. If you plan on leading people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, keep moving forward.
I made it, though. I made it.
Yes, he's here. He received it because he's coaching me, and I really respect it about him. And he has that desire. All right, so remember, the first thing I said, if you ever want to change your life, was your thinking. All right, so we addressed that. I gave you little nuggets on money. The second thing, your associations. They're so huge. Has anyone ever heard a bird of a feather flock together?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, let me ask you some questions. I remember when I first got introduced to this concept by one of my mentors in 2005. He was like, so let's identify the problems. He was like, Jesse, who are the 5 people you hang out with the most right now? I'm like, man, you really want that list? That list is 1. Right? He said, you guys just caught that right now. So I want to ask you guys this question right now. Who are the 5 people that you hang out with the most right now? Take like 2 seconds and jot those names down. It doesn't matter where you're at in your life. Who are the 5 people that you spend the most time with right now? That you hang out with the most, that you spend the most time with? I'm going to show you guys something. Now I'm going to start to ask you some questions that he asked me. I'll let you guys when the room is ready, say ready.
Ready.
All right. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions that he asked me. He said, out of this list of the 5 people you hang out with the most, how many of them graduated high school? I said, man, none of them. He says, how many of them dropped out? I said, all of them. He says, who do you think quitters hang with when they're dropping out? Other quitters. That was another feeling. He says, how many of them went to college? I said, none of them went to college because none of them finished school. He says, you should never be lazy in learning. I know I didn't finish high school, he said, but it doesn't mean I'm not educated. He said, high school can't be a bad thing. This is what I teach my daughter. I'm teaching her with this mindset. You're going to go to school because you're going to meet a bunch of people. And it's good for, to be social, right? So get you out the house, get you meeting new people, right? Now, I tell my daughter, and I keep it real with her. I'm very transparent with my daughter. We have a real close relationship. I'll be like, baby, not all your teachers you're going to like, right? Some of them you're going to like more than others. Some subjects you're going to like more than others, but life says you should be educated, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that everything that they teach you, you're really going to need in real life. Because to me personally, once math turns into letters, I'm like, you lost me. No interest. I believe the best math is multiplication, turning 1 into 2. Right? So, this is what I tell my daughter, right? But I said, you shouldn't be lazy in learning. Show me you can finish something, right? Because in my mind, I know that guess what you're going to do, baby? You're going to be an entrepreneur. And guess who you're going to go back and sell some stuff to? All the people you went to school with. All right, so how many of them went to college? How many of them right now work or have a job on your list? Put a yes or no. He was asking me kind of different questions. How many of them went to jail? How many of them smoked? How many of them my questions were different than the questions I'm asking you. I said, everybody, all of them. How many of them own a business or desire to? I'm asking you guys that question. All right? How many of them have kids? How many of them are married? How many of them are single? Married people normally hang with other married people. If you're a married person hanging around with a bunch of single person, you're not going to be married for too much longer. I'm just going to send you on a bill of a bunch of free ones, right? How many of them make over $50,000 a year? Or have what you want? Out of the 5 people you spend the most time with, how many of them have what you want? Only one. All right, now check this out. Your income will be the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if everyone you hang with is broke, you're going to be the 6th brokest person. So I learned this concept early on. He was like, if you want to change your association, so I said, what are you trying to tell me, man? I got to go back to everyone and tell them you're not my friend no more? I didn't want to do that. He was like, no. He said, the only variable is time. How much time you spend with these people. If they're no longer going in the same direction that you're trying to go with, it's time to cut down that time that you're spending with them, because it's not conducive to what you say you want. And then he was like, then what you got to do, right? So I'm going to give you an analogy. He said, people that you would hang out with 2 days out of the week, you got to cut it down to 2 hours. If they're not on what you're on, it's just a sacrifice that you guys would be willing to make. He said, people that you used to spend 2 hours with, you got to cut it down to 2 minutes. Hey man, hey, it's good to see you. Take care. All right, yeah, 2 seconds. All right, and then he was like, then you got to up your time with people who are going in the direction you're trying to go with, or who have what you want. You got to get in a new circle who has the lifestyle you want, or who's going in that direction. You got to take it from just spending two hours a week with that person. You got to take it, 2 minutes a week. You got to take it up to 2 hours. Then you got to take it from 2 hours. You got to be spending a couple days with those people. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
You know, we identified the problems, some areas, right? Because all I'm doing is holding up a mirror to you today. It's different for everybody. I'm just holding up a mirror to all these guys. All right? So let's identify some solutions. This is what you got to do. You got to get around some good, positive people that have what you want. And I, as a disclaimer, if any of you guys see the spell check, hey guys, I was up for 3 in the morning. I was tired as hell. Forgive me, all right? That are going in the direction that you want to go. This is some of the things you got to do. This is the type of people you got to get around. That are in a position to help you get there. Get around people that have your solutions, not more of your problems. Does it make sense to continue to hang out with people that just have the same problems as you? Or people that can actually do something about it and help you change that?
Yes.
All right? Get around people that don't co-sign with your weaknesses. No, it's okay, you don't have to do that. Guess what? Misery loves company. We already talked about that. All right? The third thing that you have to do if you ever want to change your life, remember I told you thinking, associations, and environment. Let's identify some problems. Where you spend the most time at right now, your environment, whether it's home, whether it's your neighborhood, whether it's work. Let me ask you some questions about that. Is it negative or positive? What are you constantly being exposed to? I mean, I kind of shared with you like what my neighborhood was like, you know. Maybe in my mind I thought it was normal when it was all I've ever known. But guess what? It wasn't normal. It wasn't okay. People were hurting each other. What kind of information is going into your community and surroundings? Is it keeping more people broke? I mean, is it, like in the inner city, do you notice more like payday loan stores and check cashing places and liquor stores on every corner and daycare right next door?
Yeah.
Yeah, cash for gold?
Popeye.
What information is going in? Is the information designed to keep people bound? Maybe it's time you get around a new environment. Because I promise you, don't get me wrong, rich neighborhoods have liquor stores, but they're more like boutiques.
Yeah.
Does your environment breed doubters and complainers, or whiners, or winners and champions? Your neighborhood right now, your work, your home, is it breeding doubters and complainers, or winners and champions? Is it conducive to helping you get to where you want to go? Your environment right now, is it helping you become that person to where you want to go? To where you want to be? Maybe, exactly. All right, so check this out. I found this and it kind of popped out to me. It says, it may be hard for an egg to turn into a bird. It would be a jolly sight harder for it to learn to fly while remaining an egg. We are like eggs at present, and you cannot go on indefinitely being just an ordinary decent egg. We must either be hatched or go back. It's time for some of y'all to get out your shell. All right? So let's start to expand on some solutions, all right? I don't want to just give you a bunch of problems, like blah, 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 blah. I want to show you, all right, this is what you need to be doing, all right? Get around a good environment that challenges you, where you have the opportunity to grow and advance in life. This is what kind of environment you have to go. I'm not just saying secret, just get around an environment that does this. Maybe it's church, maybe it's something for you. I don't know what it is. You know what it is. You know the feeling, because there's only two people that you can't lie to. You can't lie to God, and you can't lie to yourself, because at the end of the day, you know the truth. Get around an environment that stretches you beyond your limits and comfort zone. And an environment that brings out the best qualities in you. Is this clicking for some of you?
Yes.
All right. Now there's a price. There's a price in anything, just like there's a price in secret. All right. And I can't make that decision for you. That's a decision that you gotta make. All right. All I can just do is hold up the mirror and just help you ask yourself that question. Now there's always going to be a sacrifice involved. If you were to go to college, there's a sacrifice involved. All right. Has anyone ever went to college?
Yes.
All right, so here, I'll give you a perfect example. So you remember when you went to school, I guarantee you, you had, life kind of happened while you went to school. You probably had family issues, maybe some family members sick or friends sick. You probably had financial issues where money was kind of tight. Vehicle issues, it was kind of hard to get to school. Maybe you even had relationship issues. You were like, all right, I ain't with you no more. All right, you can be distracted, right? Right? You see what I'm talking about? Life is going to happen, no matter what you do. Anytime you do something bigger than yourself, life is always going to try to get in the way. It's no different here in Seacret. You're building something bigger than you. So you just got to stay focused long enough when life does happen. All right, so let me ask you these questions. What price are you willing to pay at the counter of success? What price are you willing to pay? A lot. Will you be here a year from now? Will you be here 5 years from now? Is your family worth it? If you don't do it, who else will in your family? Like if somebody has to get serious in the family to change this family tree, if you're not that person, who else in the family you think is going to step up to do that? Anybody? What are you willing to give up to go up? I told you there's always a sacrifice involved. Are you willing to give up the dark league? Maybe the clubs or bars for a little bit. Guess what? They're not going anywhere. They're always there. Sports. I mean, are you about to go pro? If you're not about to go pro and make money, is it making any sense anymore? Is it hanging out with friends and family? Maybe, don't get me wrong. Too much of that can be bad. Everything should be in moderation. Too much of that, if you're just doing this and not enough of what you need to be taken care of and you're falling behind on life, bills are getting stacked up, and what doesn't make sense to continue to do this, you need to start doing something about that. Some time with the remote. TV. I remember for years, like after 2005, I started doing this stuff, man. All right. And not everyone received it. And it showed me like this business will reveal a lot of people to you. And it really show you who's for you and who's not. But it is what it is. I remember this one of the things I did is I stopped watching TV. Check this out. I don't know if you remember with Time Warner cable. You guys got Time Warner out here or Charter cable? Comcast, Illinois. Do you ever see like at night it'll say paid programming? I want you to think about every show. You know, that obviously they pay for their show to be on TV. But the slot is programming. Think about what TV does. Programming. Right? Stop watching and start living. I mean, imagine how many people get caught up in front of that remote, like in a trance, watching other people live their dreams. Watching athletes live physically fit lives, play sports, and you're just scarfing down beer and hot wings and beer and hot, you know. You're getting big and they're just living physically fit. They're living they have the body that you want. Ariana decides to go to class, and I decide to skip school. Right? So day one doesn't really look much of a difference. Right? Next day, Ariana decides to go to school, goes to class. I decide to go smoke some weed with my guys. Right? Day 3, Ariana decides to go to school, go to class, stay on top of her work. Day 3, I decide to go hang out with some girls at the lake. Right? It's a bunch of little stuff that just compounds. Now the thing about it was easy for me to go to school, but it was also easy for me not to go to school. It's easy to build this business, and it's also easy not to build this business. Because you're your own boss. Ain't nobody gonna wake up and tell you, hey, work but yourself. All right, so if somebody ate a McDonald's Big Mac today, bit into a Big Mac, ate the whole Big Mac, and then had a heart attack, would you want to eat a Big Mac?
No.
What if they just smoked some cigarettes today and next day died of lung cancer? Would you want to pick up that pack of cigarettes?
No.
Well, how does eating that unhealthy lead to a heart attack and then bad smoking habits lead to lung cancer? It's a bunch of little stuff compounds that adds up to the big things. So every day you're making decisions. Every day you're making choices. To do it, to not to do it. To do it, to not to do it. It's easy to do, it's easy not to do. And every day those choices are compounding up and they're either working for you or they're working against you. It might seem small, they might even seem not that important. Should I be on a conference call? Should I not be on a conference call? Should I be plugging into our briefing or our meeting in the home? Should I not? Going to, man, this couch is feeling really good right now. Should I go to convention or should I not go to convention? I mean, all the real money makers are at convention.
Yes.
Yes.
All right? Should I go do my spa party or not? Should I pick up the phone and start inviting some people out or no? You see this stuff? It's all it is a bunch of simple stuff. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Now, what's uncomfortable early on, maybe it was uncomfortable for Ariana, but she fought through that and she still went, whether she wanted to do the work or not. Whether she felt like going to school or not. Not every day you feel good, right? When you were in school, not every day felt good just waking up and going to school. Same thing when building a business. Not every day is going to feel good. But what's uncomfortable early on becomes comfortable later on. Once you start seeing the results, like, man, I got my credits. I'm in the next grade. Well, this person, like, damn, I ain't got no credits this last year. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
But look at my scenario. What's comfortable early on, hey, we're having fun. I'm kicking it, hanging out with girls, drinking, partying, whatever. I don't have nobody to tell me what to do. What's comfortable early on becomes uncomfortable later on because guess what I have to do? I have to go play catch up. I gotta go get a GED. I still have to go get educated. So this is the thing. I learned this and it just changed everything for me. It says, wealthy people teach their kids, pay now so you can spend the rest of your life playing later.
Yes.
You know what poor people are being taught? Or maybe not being taught enough of? Maybe somebody's not on them enough. It's okay to play now. But guess what? Life always demands a payment. Sooner or later, you're going to have to pay later. Now, if you know there's supposed to be a payment, life always demands a payment. When do you think it's going to be easier to pay? Now, early while you're young, or later on?
No.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So check it out. This is a slight edge. It's easy to do. Simple disciplines made consistently over time. It's just simple disciplines. Day in, day out. It's easy not to do. Simple errors in judgment made over a period of time. And this is what these people do. They blame and neglect, and they're entitled. Like somebody owes them something. Nobody owes you anything. Listen, our country might be going through some challenges, but we still live in the greatest country in the world. People are not canoeing here on a freaking raft to get to China. People are coming here because there's a lot of opportunity, but here as Americans, we're really spoiled. Because I promise you, Do you know that 50% of the millionaires in the United States are not even from the United States? They're immigrants. Why? Because they come to this country to look for reasons to do something. While Americans are so spoiled, they look for reasons not to do something. It's a whole different mindset. Folks have opportunity all around them, and they're just not hungry enough. Somebody will still put you up in their basement and take care of you. These people are responsibility, discipline, and value driven. So there's always a price. You know, as a matter of fact, Adriana, if we were in school at the same time together, it might be look like maybe I had better clothes than you at the time. Maybe I'm having more fun than you at the time. So in the beginning, you really can't see much of a difference. When you talk about 1 year down the road, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, we're growing in two different directions. Now who looks better? You see what I'm talking about? Now who's driving the kind of cars that they want? Who's raising the kids in the neighborhoods that they want to raise in? Who's in a position to give somebody, to help somebody? Does this make sense?
Yes.
5% of the most successful people, progressive realization of a worthy idea, 95% failure, lasts a lifetime. Over here, it's going to be a whole, what are some of the feelings over here, like if you knew you paid the price early on, what are some of the emotions you think successful people are feeling? Appreciative, happy, successful, accomplished, right?
Yes.
Relax.
Relaxed,
Happy.
happy. What do you think these people are feeling?
Frustrated. Anxious.
Think about some of your parents, maybe some grandparents, maybe uncles, aunts, brothers, sisters. Yeah, I feel backed up against the wall, stressed. Like, damn, where do I start now? I gotta go play catch up with everybody else in an industry that didn't even want me before. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
So there's always a price. Who do you think is gonna feel it even more? You gotta make up that decision. All it really is, guys, is a bunch of simple stuff day in, day out. So in 2005, I started to sit down and I was like, all right, my association, I see I gotta get out of this environment, I gotta get around a better environment where I can grow, that's good ground. I gotta start to change my thinking, so I started working on that. So I said, I gotta start, to get good at this little stuff day in, day out. Now I'm not telling you, because life never works this way, that you gotta change everything overnight. Because I didn't do it like that. It didn't happen for me like that. All it really is, if you wanna go a different direction, say you're headed this way, you really wanna go that way. All it really is a bunch of 1%, 1 degree changes at a time will get you there. Maybe you gotta quit that. Maybe you gotta stop that. Maybe you gotta do more of this. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
All it is a bunch of 1% stuff every day, day in, day out. So years ago, I was like, all right, these people over here, they're teaching their kids, pay now and you can spend the rest of your life, play later. It's a whole different mentality. These people over here, play now, but sooner or later you're gonna have to pay later. So then I started to think about my life growing up. I'm like, wow, didn't really value education, didn't really value school, made a mess of my life, just rebellious. And I think about how we were raised. We moved from house to house to house, never owning a house. We ruined our credit before we even knew what credit was. Never worked, was blamed, made excuses for everything, had that entitlement mentality, like everybody owes something. And think about this, imagine dragging all your kids from one house to the next, renting. Come on guys, we're moving to another house that we don't own. But imagine what these wealthy people are teaching the kids. Well, maybe you should go to school, or maybe you should consider owning a business. All right, get yourself settled. Be smart with your money. It's not how much you make that counts, it's how much you keep in it. There's a lot of people that make money. Purchase a home. Look, you see the instability and stability?
Yes.
That's what's happening out there. It's different information going into different households. Not everybody, has this information. Well, guess what? You're getting it today. So after today, if you weren't born wealthy, that's not your fault. But after today, if you weren't born wealthy, that's not your fault. But after today, if you don't die wealthy, now that's your fault.
Yeah.
So the whole training was rewriting your story. And I told you in the beginning, it doesn't matter how you start, what counts is how you finish. And I told you that you are worthy, that you are capable, and that you do deserve it. And I told you that your past doesn't have to equal your future. All you really got to do is just make a decision, and everything can be different. All right? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to rewrite your story. Whatever your story's been up until now, all it really takes is a decision to change it. So I want to read this to you. You know what the beginning of the book of your life looks like already? You're writing a story right now. Your life is a book. So you know what the beginning of the book of your life looks like already? You know what you would like the end to look like, of your book to look like, or to be? But right now, where you sit today, you're in the meat of your story, the middle. If anybody's read books, the meat of the story is always in the middle. We know what we've been through. We know where we want to get to. We're in the middle of our lives right now. All right? It is time to close old chapters in your book, your life, so that you can write new ones. Keep writing your story because somebody out there right now is waiting to hear your story, your story, your story. Your story. Somebody out there right now is waiting for you to finish writing your story so that one day you can tell it because it's going to unlock them. Well, you got to stay on fire long enough so you can catch other people on fire. So you got to almost be willing to stand in the gap for your family, for people that just don't see it yet, or just they only know what they know. Because in their time, remember I told you nobody questioned anything? You go to school, you worked 40 hours a week for 40 years, and then you retire off of 40% of your income that you couldn't live off of when you worked. They only know what they know. They don't know that there's a better way. They don't know that here in America, yeah, you should work hard, but in today's time, you need to learn how to work smart. How do you work smart? You need to learn how to leverage your time. You need to learn how to leverage your money. And you need to learn how to get paid over and over and over again on what you do one time. You decide how your story ends, not me. I'm just a messenger. Not your family, not your friends, not the government. You create your reality. People don't even realize, if anyone's following me on Facebook, my message is consistent every single day. Whether I feel good or not, my message is consistent. You got to wake up excited about life every single day. Every single day you just got to wake up. Like, listen, if you woke up today, you already beat people that didn't have that chance to wake up today. You ever think about that? Like, there's somebody today that died last night. So how long are you going to keep taking advantage of it? Listen, you're designed for a purpose. I don't know what that purpose is. I'm pretty sure deep down inside you know if you really start to look. You know what it is. I believe words can shape your reality. I believe there's powers in words. So I believe don't just let anybody speak anything over your life anymore. If they're not speaking stuff that is good for you, don't allow it in your space. Period. Maybe that's where you had no choice when you were a kid, because they were adults. But now you're adults, and you don't have to allow that no more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe that things you put out there every single day, your thinking, your words, it's shaping your reality every single day. It's either drawing more good to you, or if you're just online, it's whatever you focus on, you attract more of. If you just focus on problems, on bad, you're just going to get more of that. If you focus on the good, and you look for the good in everything and every day, like, man, I'm alive today. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get more of that. Nacho came up here and he told you that in the condition that you are right now, yeah, you'll never have that. You have to become that first to attract that. You can create your reality. Watch what words you allow other people to speak over your life because they are powerful and they take shape, right? I'm going to wrap up right here. This is, I believe, our last slide. You got to make a decision. If you ever break down the word decision, it means, to decide. Think about everything that ends in side. Homicide, suicide, death. So when you make a decision, it really means death to all other options. So these are the questions I'm going to pose to you. What is it that you really want? Have you asked yourself that? Like, man, what I really, I know they ask you, what's your why? Man, but what is it that you really, really want? Have you seriously asked yourself that question? Maybe it's time. Maybe this weekend. If you don't do it today, maybe this weekend, you get some alone time this weekend and ask yourself, like, what is it that I really want? And this business is a vehicle to help do that. There's money on the table. If there's something else that you're more passionate about, use the money that's on the table to finance your passion. If there's something else that you're more excited about, well, use the money on the table to finance what you really want to be doing. Whether modeling, acting, whatever else it is that you want to do. Finance that. Don't wait for somebody else to finance that. Don't wait for someone else to finance you or to discover you. What is it that you really want out of this secret business? What level do you want to be at? Or do you just kind of want it? Or I'm just going to kind of do this thing. If you build something like a hobby, and you kind of do it, it's going to kind of pay you. If you build something like a business, and you're consistent, it's going to pay you like a business, consistently. It's a bunch of simple stuff, guys. What are you willing to do to get it? Like you said earlier, anything. Well, would you give this business 5 years? I mean, you're going to be somewhere for the next 5 years. You're going to be working for the next 5 years.
Just know that at the end it's still going to be there.
You know, are you worthy of giving yourself 5 years?
Yeah.
Listen, that's all I did. That's all I did. I worked, I outlasted everyone. I went to work harder on myself than I did on my business. I grew myself, and I indirectly grew my paycheck. I never saw myself as a leader. As a matter of fact, a lot of you guys don't know this, but I've never publicly spoke before until this last full year. Well, he knows because, right, John Mullah is my mentor. That's who brought me into Seacret. He lived in the Milwaukee market. He moved out of Milwaukee April of last year, of 2011. And up until then, he was doing the presentations in the market every week. Briefings, trainings. And the most that I've ever done was a 30-second testimonial. And when he moved out the market, we had no choice but to step up as leaders. Or else they would have never got done. I learned how to do this in the last year. I was uncomfortable as hell. I didn't really want to do it. I didn't want to do it. It wasn't all fun, you know what I'm saying? Last question I want to leave you with. It doesn't really take a lot of time. It really doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes a lot of commitment. Last question. Are you prepared for what you say you want? Remember we kind of talked about diamond? Bam. Today you were recorded as a diamond. You had the organization there. Are you prepared for that? If the answer is no, right now, well then we got some work to do. We got to go to work on ourselves. Consider this your season of preparation then. So don't get hung up with where you're not at in the business, because you're preparing for where you know you're going to be at.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Don't get hung up on the time. It doesn't matter how you started. What matters is how you finish.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Commit to learning. Remember we started this training like this. Commit to learning, unlearning. We got to move out all that garbage that no longer serves its purpose anymore. Hey, oh yeah. And commit to relearning. You guys know in a movie, you know, they make a lot of movies based off of books, right? But so you know in the storyline in the movie, at the end of think about the end of the movie. Is there some characters that don't make it to the end of the movie?
Yeah.
Think about this for a minute. So you're writing your story, you're writing your life, you're writing your book. There's some people in your life right now that kind of serve their purpose. Their character needs to die off already. Think about it. They were. You just gotta be discerning to see this. Like some people were only meant to be in your life to get you up to that season right there and to prepare you for that moment right there. And guess what? It prepares you for the new people that are about to enter your life to help you take you to the next chapter in your life. Listen, if I can recommend anything, stay bold. Be daring. Because, when you're chasing your dream, things that you really want to do, it's scary. It's not always fun. I was scared as hell to get up here and publicly speak. Do it. If that's a sacrifice that you have to make for your family, do it. Stay a student. Stay humble. Listen, there's a lot of ranks and titles into this business. Never let a title become you. Because titles don't pay bills, money pays bills. You've ever met somebody that because they had a degree, they let everyone know, they became their degree and they let everyone know that, yeah, you're less than me. With their nose in the air?
Yes.
Don't be that person. Even in secret. Stay humble. Stay you. That's the most important thing. Yeah, we're going to grow, we're going to evolve. Stay you. I'm not telling you change you at your core. Stay you. Don't worry about being perfect. We're never going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes. You got to fail your way to the top. But at least be the best you. Bring your best. We kind of talked about that lottery mentality. A lot of people get wealthy, and because they outgrew their money snapped back like a rubber band. Don't just be a millionaire, become a millionaire. So if you lose it, you know how to get it right back, because it's your mindset. I remember a story years ago that I heard about, like Donald Trump. One of my mentors, John Malott, was talking about, I'm hot, I hope he's got no money. He's called I'm hot. That's always the case. So one of my mentors, John Malott, was telling a story about Donald Trump was walking by the street one time and he seen a bum that was sitting on the street, and he said, wow, this bum is in a better position than me. He says, because at least he's at zero. I'm $1 billion in the hole. Some people are stressed out about being $20,000 in debt, or $50,000 in debt, or whatever it is that any debt hanging over your head, right? Imagine not being $1 million in the hole, $1 billion. That's Donald Trump's story. If you ever read his story, right? And the crazy thing about it is, how was he able to go from being $1 billion in the hole to right back being a billionaire? Because he outgrew his money. Your money has no choice but to continue to catch up to the level that you're operating with. Why? Because you will always be paid according to the value that you bring to market. So how is it a guy from the inner city of the south side of Milwaukee, tattooed out, can come up here and train this crowd? Because I don't let other people's opinions define me. I know what I'm worth. You can do anything you want to do. All you really have to do, though, is you have to make a decision. And it all comes back to you giving yourself permission. So, man, Chicago, that's my training. I hope that you take this to the next level. I want to see you guys get rank advance. Don't buy into other people's opinions. You know what you're worth. You know your value. Go out and get it. You guys have an incredible weekend. We'll be back up here to support you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.